Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, the 16th of October, and I think we got a big day ahead of ourselves because we got a lot of gamma on there ready to come off, and it's probably going to be a battle. So let's go to the charts, and plus we got plenty of presidential election stuff happening. So we go in here. I have to make sure I put that in there because, you know, there's been a lot of people have been watching the videos lately for our analysis of what's going on in politics as it relates to the markets. So we are definitely going to be talking about that. All right. Volume profile. So yesterday we were like way oversold, like way crazy oversold overnight. Europe and Asia just totally bailed. And during the regular session, we recovered most of that. So again, here, there was a lot, and I mean a lot of gamma put on here on Monday. So you just kind of look at that on Monday and take the average of that, and that's going to be kind of where they're trying to go. So, I mean, I don't know if it has to go all the way back up there, but somewhere in this 3,500 range, yeah, they're going to try and make it back up there because of the options. Treasuries were going higher again, and they gave up some of those gains too on the rally. So it was a very big risks, sentiment change yesterday. I guess the thing that I'm trying to get across is that even though we did not recover the previous day's close or close above that, so it may appear as a red candle depending on which time frames you're looking at, it was a very positive day yesterday. Right. Oil, same thing, big plummet down, back up. They really exaggerated there in oil. Gold still not doing the same thing. Maybe we'll see something later today that we'll see. Who knows? Copper is still dealing with this mine strike down in South America. So otherwise, I think they would have been a lot higher, but that's okay. They don't need that. We should have talked about spreads. You can see here they were flattening and now they're steepening again here on the knob. 2s and 10s. Like to look at those macro factors. And here is the dollar. So yesterday, despite the huge change in risk sentiment, the dollar was quite strong. And there was a lot of Brexit headlines going on yesterday, so that's probably a significant part of it. And then we came back down after that. So yeah, I am impressed that I am able to go through and do all that talking with this squawk stocking directly in my ear because they are pretty yappy here. Apparently, Angela Merkel is talking. Good morning. Are y'all ready for this week? I am ready for it to be over. Okay, so then on the political front, we should talk. So yesterday they had dueling town halls. So the whole deal here was that we come over here. The commission wanted to make that debate virtual because Donald Trump caught the coronavirus, I guess, even though he was perfectly healthy. But they wanted to do it virtual. Donald Trump refused, so Joe Biden set up a town hall with ABC. No surprise, ABC has always been the one that's like the most willing to, I don't know, what is the word, coddle a Democrat candidate because they got George Stephanopoulos and everything. And so NBC sent one up with Donald Trump. A lot of people were very upset about this. And I think that put pressure on the network to be really hard on him. So, what is her name? Samantha Guthrie? Amanda, I don't know her first name. Anyways, she was really, really, really aggressive with Donald Trump. But here's the thing, and here's the takeaway that I would take from this. He didn't make any significant gaffes, and this is always kind of the thing that I will see in debates very often, especially in the primaries. You remember back in the primaries when it was kind of starting to become more clear that Joe Biden might win, and so a lot of people were attacking him, and it was like all six guys were attacking Joe Biden, but they were, and I mean, they made good hits on him and everything, but he himself never said anything that made him stumble. And so it ends up being a win for Joe Biden. And so I will view yesterday as a win for Donald Trump because they were very aggressive with him. He didn't stumble. And now he's able to go out and he's going to say, well, I had a debate with Samantha Guthrie and I won. And that's what they did is they put out a press release basically saying as much. And meanwhile, they were really nice to Joe Biden. Of course, there was some tough questions over there for Biden too. For instance, they asked him about the court packing. He has decided to moderate his message and say that he's open to it, which I think is like a huge mistake. But there's not being covered as a gaffe. Overall, net positive for Donald Trump. I don't know if it cancels out the downside that Donald Trump got from the last debate. But I think when you add all of the other things, the Biden gaffes, the ugly Hunter Biden story, I think that we're probably back to where we were before the debate, if not Donald Trump doing a little bit better when all is said and done. But we'll see what the polling says. One thing that we should point out, and I'm sure most of you guys are aware, well, we got a minute here, is this Trafalgar Group, who is the poll that called the 2016 election correctly, called the midterms correctly. And the way that they do this is they account for social desirability bias, basically the shy Trump voter. And they're showing that Donald Trump would win right now. So I don't know how accurate that is. I'd be really skeptical about any poll, even the Trafalgar Group poll, because the demographics and everything are going to be so different on who actually goes to the polls that it's extremely unlikely that the polls are going to be like accurate, super accurate. So I would be careful about that. But the race may be closer than we think. And I guess the thing is that the uncertainty about the election seems to be rising again. Okay, so we're about to get some numbers in here from Canada and US. Oh, retail sales month over month. We're looking for a reading of spot 7. Okay, so it sounds like the number is good. That's actually really good. Well, we're very illiquid. But the numbers are good. You can see the treasuries they're selling. Savannah Guthrie? Her name was Savannah Guthrie? I have no idea why anyone would want to moderate a debate. The moderators take more heat than the candidates. Well, apparently somebody did. Did you catch this other thing that the guy that was going to moderate the second debate, he was caught tweeting. Well, he meant to message Mook, and he didn't. He accidentally tweeted it, and it was showing bias. He was like, "Should I respond to Donald Trump?" Because Donald Trump was saying this moderator is biased, and he was talking with the Mooch, which is a huge anti-Trumper now that he's been kicked out of the administration. And I just, man. So then he claimed that he was hacked and that's where that came from. That has now been shown to be a lie. And he used to work for what was it, NPR? No. He worked for C-SPAN. And he has been suspended. So here you had this debate moderator was totally looking to be an anti-Trump. And I think that this is just the whole thing that this has gone through. I initially thought, trying to attack the debate commission and say that the debates are rigged against me is not something that is probably going to play well with voters and work out for you in the end. But the reality is that it was rigged against him and he was right and they got caught red-handed. And I don't know if everybody will pick up on that, but that to me is really huge. That to me is really huge. Just the whole thing, that and the way that Twitter has been behaving and everything, it really is like media is trying to rig the whole thing against Donald Trump. And I think that the Donald Trump supporters are going to be extremely motivated to go out and prove them wrong. Yep. Steve Scully admitted to sending a tweet to Anthony Scaramucci despite previously denying it and saying he had been hacked. Yeah, exactly. It's just absolutely inexcusable, abhorrent. I can't believe that they're doing that. So far it's a good move up. I think there's probably a little bit more left in this, but they have to kind of moderate themselves a little bit because they are kind of a little going up a little bit too quickly. And they are, the overnight positions weren't terribly far apart. We didn't move a ton in the overnight session. So, we're already almost to the top end of that range. Meaning, well, maybe I should take it off here. I will. I'll take it off because I'm not seeing really strong indications that we can move up to new high yet. They're gonna have to put new money to work, and I don't know if they want to do that yet or not. I could be wrong. But I'm thinking tactically they're gonna want to save some ammo for later. They can need that ammo later to fight the open. So it's getting slow there. 2 points isn't bad. Now the Hunter Biden thing is also getting worse. Can you believe it? So what was it, Tucker? What was Tucker Carlson's? He released more emails. Basically, emails from Burisma basically asking Joe for favors. Burisma executive Vadim Pazarski emailed Hunter Biden and his business partner Devon Archer. The purpose of the email, Pazarski explains, is to be on the same page regarding our final goals, including but not limited to a concrete course of actions. So what did Burisma want exactly? Well, for good PR for starters, Pazarski wanted high-ranking U.S. officials to express their positive opinion of Burisma, and then he wanted the administration to act on Burisma's behalf. The scope of work should also include the organization of a visit of a number of widely recognized and influential current or former policymakers to Ukraine in November, aiming to conduct meetings with and bring positive signal and support. This is the game. I have to say this whole thing is really interesting too. I got a lot of hits to my video about Hunter Biden. I should not be ranking high on search for that search term. I know that Rudy Giuliani's video about this got taken down. Rudy Giuliani made a lot of really, frankly, what I would call fantastical claims. Citing one email to kind of back the claims up. He better have a lot more proof to back it up, but I don't know. And the thing that's crazy to me about this whole thing is that the Democrat response has basically been, oh, it's fake. It's just a Russian disinformation campaign. And I'm looking at it, it's like, okay, they have photos. They don't just have photos. They have like thousands of photos, apparently. Like this is all of the photos that he's taken on his phones and everything were on this laptop. Those are all things that can be verified. Do we have thousands of emails? Emails can be verified, guys. A lot of emails have hashes associated, like encryption keys associated with them and everything, so that you can verify who sent it and that it was sent and so forth. So you cannot fake this shit, right? The post has not provided the raw files yet, so we can't do this verification. But these are things that can be verified, and I would guess that if I was supposed to, what I would do is I would be sitting there knowing that they're going to try and call it fake, let them do it, and then come out later and prove they're wrong. So it's really just startling to me that the Democrat response is basically to just say that it's fake. I don't think that that's going to work out very well for them in the end. But that said, I need to keep the same level of, what is the same requirements that I do for all these things against Donald Trump. I was always, well, okay, they say this, but we need a positive verification, positive proof to prove that this thing happened, and that never came. With the emails, we have documents being released from a media outlet that claims to be from Hunter Biden's laptop. We do not have positive verification of that as of yet because they have not given us the file. I expect it to come, though. I expect it to come. Here you go. It is Rudy Giuliani is spreading Russian disinformation. The Intel Committee has warned the White House that Rudy's contact is an agent. The problem is the waters are muddy now. Well, but first of all, I haven't seen positive verification of that. I've seen that sources say that intelligence agencies are looking into it and think that it might be disinformation. But here's the thing. So the theory would be then, and they're not outright saying this, but seems to me that the theory is that then that a Russian agent gave this laptop to a guy, and then, or maybe the guy that's a shop owner, he's a Russian agent and gave it to Rudy, and that's how they got it. Where did they get all of these emails? Where did they get all of these photos from? You just can't fake all those emails like that. I'm sorry, but you can't. We don't have the technology for that. We have a lot of technology to analyze the pictures, and everything that I've looked at so far seems to indicate that they're genuine. Furthermore, I have seen a report that the Hunter Biden's lawyer contacted the computer store owner guy. So why would he do that if it wasn't real? I feel very confident, even though I don't think that there is positive verification yet. I feel very confident that the emails are real. So at that point, who cares where it came from, or if Russians are pushing it or whatever? The fact of the matter is that Hunter Biden was peddling influence. That Hunter Biden was peddling his father's influence. And not just to Russians, but to the Chinese too. Because that was the one that was yesterday, right? The pattern I see is foreign money. It is. It's totally. And when you read the ones from that Tucker Carlson had last night, and that was what Tucker Carlson released last night was much more substantial, right? This was a guy, he was asking specifically for stuff. It wasn't, was he asking for something that was like explicitly illegal per se? Yes, I would like you to make sure that U.S. officials come so that we can look good. I don't think that that's necessarily illegal, but is that really what we want people, our president involved in? No, it's not. It's a real problem. Like I said, I guess my point here is it has become a real story, and the Democrat response to it is insane. It is insane. You just come in and say it's not real. They're going to prove that it's real, and then what are you going to say? Right? People are already distrustful of it, distrustful of the Democrat Party, and now, and that's the thing is that like the coronavirus thing is a big deal. A lot of older voters are mad about the coronavirus thing. I don't think that everybody understands or has accepted that there's only so much that you can do about a pandemic, right? People are going to die. Like Donald Trump said, the estimates were that if we do nothing, that 2 million people will die. And with the measures, only 200,000 will die. And that's what happened was 200,000 died. It was about on line with what Fauci's original estimate was actually so far. And it's good that the U.S. response saved lives, but a lot of voters do not see it that way. A lot of voters see it as people died and whoever's in charge needs to be sacked and yada yada yada, right? And that is probably what Donald Trump has got to do. Is he's got to convince those voters back over if he wants to win. I'm almost certain all of the other polling, the reason that the other polling is showing him down is because a lot of older voters, including older Republicans, are flipping over. And that's why a lot of people on the conservative side don't see it, because you're not talking to grandma and grandpa right now. So you don't see it. And those polls would be highly likely to pick it up because it's those older voters and everything that still have landlines and pick up and are going to answer those polls, right? That's a big problem. If this Hunter Biden corruption thing gets big enough, that could cancel that out and end Joe Biden. It's at first it was like, well, I don't know if this really. I still think that the big thing is convincing voters on coronavirus. Now that we've had 2 days of this and it seems like they're just getting started, yeah, it's a problem. Democrats are going to have to address it, and they're going to have to do better than just claiming that it's fake, because I'm pretty confident that it's not, and I'm pretty confident that news outlets are going to come and provide positive verification of it and make the Democrats look like complete idiots for saying that. So that's my spill on the politics. Well, I could have gotten maybe just a tad bit more out of that, but overall I'm happy with what I got. I still don't think I would be filled on the full 16 ticks, and it is getting slow here. So I would expect they're going to come back and we'll just have like a slow melt up. This will probably be difficult action. Got a couple of things going on in. They want me to. So I've got my indicators. These aren't officially released because I'm still waiting for some things back from NinjaTrader themselves. But if you go to Speculator Seth, you can see the indicators they're going to be providing, and they're going to be provided as a reward for elite subscribers. So if you click the join button down below in a YouTube video and you join the $10 a month elite subscription, then you will get full access to the indicators. Otherwise, you can go and download them right now and you can try them for free for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And yeah, I think that $10 to try something for a month is pretty reasonable, and what you get is going to prove itself. So, anyways, they're asking me, oh, we need them for Sierra Chart. They want them for Sierra Chart. I don't know if I'll do it or not, but I could do it for Sierra Charts, but it's a bit of work, and I don't know what I would do for the licensing part over there. So, that was a good 15 minutes of yapping about politics. So, haven't cleaned my system out yet. Zero Hedge finally posted their analysis. One of the things that I thought was interesting this morning. So I read a lot. I read a lot about the 2 town halls. Read the whole transcripts of them and everything. So I have a pretty good idea of what they talked about, especially with Donald Trump. So there you go. Now it would have been filled. But I was surprised that the main political blogs and media outlets and stuff didn't really have very good synopsises of them. And another thing that was really interesting was that there was really no interest in Joe Biden's town hall. I think that it was something like 200,000 people watched Joe Biden and like 4 million watched Donald Trump or something. Like clearly everybody's more interested in Donald Trump. Smoker, good morning. Biden had a nicer chair. Yeah, they gave Donald Trump was like a hard chair and everything, huh? But in that format, they expect them to walk around. In With Joe, I don't know if they did Joe, because I didn't watch it live. Did Joe walk around? Yeah, there we go. In the Zero Hedge, in summary, we suspect Donald Trump consolidated his base but did nothing to persuade fence sitters, if there's such a person in America, where Biden likely alienated some of the more progressive leftists in his base, but picked up some undecideds. Biden won the night helped by media, according to Zero Hedge. I don't know if I read it that way. I think that in the end, net that is going to be neck and neck again. Well, not neck and neck, but like it was before the debate. Them treasuries are getting slaughtered. After what, 3 days of positive action in the treasuries, we getting a hard move down and hard steepening, very hard steepening. This is going to be, that's kind of one of those things where like you were wondering how far it can go in the treasuries, and it's just so hard to know. I'm already done for the day. You caught that? Good job, dude. I was thinking, I was thinking equities, equities, equities. I didn't think about, okay, what will react more strongly to this, and retail sales and at 6:30 um, number and everything. It's really better to use the treasuries, and I should have sold it. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I mean, we got an okay trade in the E-mini. I'm expecting that the E-mini is going to have another good day, though. Like I was thinking, they're gonna make it. They're gonna be difficult here. They're gonna you're gonna get in, and they're gonna come back against you and have it to try a couple of times to get in. But so far, they haven't been doing that. It's just been easy. Bye, 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 bye. Hmm. Democrat Dianne Feinstein's praise of her GOP colleague Lindsey Graham, which she followed with a friendly hug, is stirring outrage on the left and prompting calls for her to step down as the top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Oh, geez. We can't be friends with them. Lindsey Graham is a racist. You can't dog racists. Oh, is Uzi sending me a picture here? Woo! Oh my, you damn boy. Wait, so that is 3, 4, 7, almost 8 ticks. Solid $100 per contract. One contract. Good job. Did you just like hear the news and sell it, or was it when we crossed the lines? Let's see here. You were said 20. Oh, geez. Oh, it was, could have got so much more of it too. That's funny. 24 to 17. So you only caught like the last little run of it. Ooh, that was kind of risky. At that point, wouldn't have had the balls to do it. We should have sold it like when it started careening through this sell, like what 175.03, or like maybe 2.5 in the treasuries. Is that an okay strategy? Is we know there's news and we start going through the stops? We must be ready for this week to be over. I think we all are. Let's see here. I watched 24 break and the offers pile up and it hit. I didn't see 16 breaking because we already went through 2 big bid levels, so I figured 3 was the charm and got out at 17. I got you. Let's see here. Jack Dorsey, straight blocking of URLs was wrong, and we updated our policy and enforcement to fix it. Our goal is to attempt to add context, and now we have capabilities to do that. There's this big longer thing. Okay, over the last 24 hours, we've received significant feedback about how we enforce our hacked materials policy. After reflecting, we've decided to make changes to the policy. We want to address the concerns that there could be many unintended consequences to journalists, whistleblowers, and others in ways that are contrary to Twitter's purpose of serving public conversation. We put the hacked materials policy in place back in 2018 to discourage and mitigate harms associated with hacks and unauthorized exposure of private information. We try to find the right balance between people's privacy and the right of free expression. We've recently added new product capabilities such as labels to provide people with additional context. We are no longer limited to tweet removal as an enforcement action. We believe that labeling tweets and empowering people to assess content for themselves better serves the public interest and public conversation. The hacked material policy is being updated to reflect these new enforcement capabilities. So we'll no longer remove hacked content unless it is directly shared by the hackers. We'll label tweets to provide content instead of blocking links from being shared. Interesting. That was the. Let's see here. Scott Adams, it is easy to test the robustness of this new process. Wait until the next Biden tweet claiming the Fine People hoax is real and see if the context is added to clarify that it is fake news. If it is not, this new process is a step backwards. Well, obviously, it's not going to be fairly enforced. Yeah, you're right. It was a late entry when we broke evens. I didn't see the offers pile on. It just cut right through, so it didn't hit them. Yeah. And I have to go back and watch the video on that one because I was only watching over here. It was kind of startling. I really want to watch the whole curve, like the whole screen, but I find my eyes over here and I don't do that. When I have this over here, I can see it a lot more easily, but not this. Maybe I need some screen reorganization. I don't know. When I look at the overall view that you guys get from a aesthetic point of view, it's not amazing. I think we could improve it. I've been thinking about removing these charts and going back to having them go the whole length and maybe making the digits larger again. Or at least making the E-mini as large as these. Actually, you know what? We could do that. Oh, no, the issue was that we didn't get enough room on this. It looks like that the treasuries are pushing back there. A lot of profit taking there, 139. Man, I got some gunk in my throat. Maybe I caught the Rona. Ooh. Oh, Peter has been sharing my link. Thank you. some interesting stats there that I won't share with you guys. You have to pay. You have to pay Pivot Trader for that if you want it. But I'm positive on the day, especially since we got retail sales was good, and we got all of this gamma to come out. I think that they're gonna want it to be a buy into the close. Oh, Japan will release 1 million tons of treated radioactive water from the stricken Fukushima nuclear plant into the sea. They're going to release the deuterium? Are they really? Wait. I don't, yeah, let's see here. I forget. I know they go through this filtration process and then they're left with this water and then it's just been sitting there. But what was... Tritium, sorry, I forgot. The tritium. How dangerous is tritium? My understanding was it's not a very big deal. Tritium does not have chemically toxic effects, and its potential to be hazardous to human health is solely because it emits ionizing radiation, beta particles. This radiation exposure may very slightly increase the probability the person will develop cancer. Okay. Let's see here. Honestly, at this point, I prefer the Vista charts. I'm currently running Vista as a primary cost basis on 5-minute and as a secondary, and a session profile chart based on the interest rate RTH. Well, so why bother a session profile? Is it because you need to be able to see previous days volume profile? I mean, it is a potentially good point that like this chart is not that. I don't know. It's very similar to what you get on the Vista chart, but I like seeing naked value areas and point of controls around it. Yes, I do too, actually. Naked point of controls seem to matter. They seem to make really good targets. I don't know how to prove that, but tritium glows? Oh, okay. Tritium is hydrogen. No, it's extra neutron. Oh, and tritium naturally forms in the atmosphere and falls in rain. Interesting. And they use it for glow in the dark stuff. Let's see here. It is a low energy beta emitter, so it does not release high amounts of energy. Chemically, it behaves like water, and it has a short half-life, 12 years. And it passes through your body similar to water. Value investors or something, I don't know. Well, I think it's just like, yeah, when I see volume area, that just says to me that buyers and sellers agreed on price there and that there was a lot of transactions there. And then I'm looking more at my inventory cost basis to determine why, and news to determine why it moved away from that value. Like that's the thing that I always thought was kind of weird and didn't make sense, and now I've decided that they're just full of crap. Is like you have an area 139 and there's a lot of people trading in it. I always be like, okay, I think that they're gonna break out to this side because of whatever reason. And the reality is you don't really know because they agree on value. Why are they gonna suddenly disagree on value? Something has to happen. Usually it's news that will cause that. E-mini not stopping. But then if a place was agreed as fair value before, then based on what's happened since we was there, it's possible that it could matter again. So I think that point of controls are important to look at. And I don't really have it on. Well, I mean, I show them. I don't extend them. Maybe here in a bit I will fix that though. Yeah, the retail sales number was actually quite surprising, being 1.7 versus, especially since the last time that retail sales number was really disappointing. Although I seem to recall the last time the retail sales number being disappointed and them not really caring. Yeah, so while I do prefer them, I have to keep myself from falling into that trap because damn it, I sure can and have. Yeah, I don't know. The thing with the Vista charts, I mean, you do see something. I just feel like sometimes I read too much into it. You know what I mean? And I didn't find them that useful on the treasuries. Certainly not more useful than the inventory cost basis numbers. But it's interest. The thing that's really interesting to me is in the E-mini, we have a slippery move. Inventory cost basis numbers matter a lot. Treasuries, we have a strong move. They're blowing through it. They're blowing through the stops and they're putting more money at work. It's not as common in the E-mini. Okay, that was a pretty aggressive downturn in the E-mini. I don't know if there was news there. My back is locking up. Maybe I should go roll it. I know exactly what you mean. You're right. I mean, this is just that. So let me give you an example. I've been messing with this resting orders setup. I created a robot to look at it. Actually, let's turn them on. I kind of turned them off, messing with some other things, but let's turn them back on. I would do it. Market depth bot. 440. I only need to load one day. Okay. And I will enable him. Okay. So we should be able to see it on this chart, I think. If I let's see here. Let's just make sure. Yeah. Okay. We'll be able to see him. So I have found that when we get these kind of slippery moves like this one right here, I think it actually might have tried to take a trade. But they will fake it out. I mean, it's the most simple one. So I guess the trick to that game must be finding the correct filters to know when it matters and when it doesn't. Sorry, I'm getting kind of like gas. My stomach is kind of. Anyways, so it's it's the same thing when you're watching the Dom. Is you might see something and you really have to know when it means something and when it doesn't. And especially if we're having lackluster action and then you see something like that, you kind of have to go, okay, that might be shenanigans. At the very least, let's let the
Blocked
instrument
by.
react to it first before doing something. Okay, so they brought that back up. Hmm. Prime Minister Johnson's spokesperson is talking. Could that be why we moved down? Well, man, are they almost back to my entry? I think I was at 84, 85. I took 85.50. 85.50 is where I got in. Huh. That makes me a little nervous. I don't think I want to take it there again. Trade talks with the EU are over? No, it's not. It's not fake. This is a sell. Oh, this is gonna head. This is gonna be a nasty head flip. That's why the treasuries are coming back up so hard. Well, they're already back to even, so I don't know if I want to mess with those. I'm glad I got it at 17 instead of holding for 16, right? You wouldn't have gotten filled, only 69 into that. Man, this is gonna be something else. Now, uh, it's unclear how much of an effect this can actually have on the U.S. stocks. The equity traders might try to ignore. Okay, so there. Do you see my? Actually, I'm gonna bail here. My robot did take it there. We can leave on. He said Australia's term. I think he meant to say the UK's terms. Hmm. Well, this bank is bothering me. I'm gonna try and loosen it up here really quick and come back and see what it does because it seems like that's a real risk off play there, but I'm not sure if the indexes and that one where I tried to go with it, it didn't go very well. So let's kind of let it do its thing for a bit. Just extend the negotiation period. Oh, we get capacity utilization in manufacturing production here. Production was negative spot 6 versus an expected spot 5. Hmm. Well, they did go there and make a new low, but not very aggressively. Surprised this guy comes out and says negotiations are over. The robots can stop out here. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Fact, this whole bad Brexit thing might be a positive for U.S. equities if money comes in from overseas here, fleeing. It's quite curious. That seems like that was a really strong statement for um the spokesperson to be saying. Why wouldn't Boris, or whatever his name is? Sorry, what is his name? Why am I having Johnson? Why isn't Johnson coming out and saying that himself? Well, that depth long one wouldn't have been a bad trade, but they stopped him out. Immediately turned. Funny, funny, funny. The way that he's trading it, though, I'm sure that there's a lot of other robots following him. Okay. Hmm. It's a bit of an iceberg right there. It looks like there was an iceberg. They cleared the iceberg, but then weren't able to get the further support to push further. At least not yet. Somebody was willing to put the bid there. Okay. Oh, he took the trade, and then sold back. When it's slow in the morning like this, you can kind of see the. Hey, you have a cost basis chart set up by session, right? Yeah, I actually do. You not? I have the newer version. So if you go and get the version that's on the website now, um, it has two buttons, and one is to reset it at the session, and one is to um, whether it's cumulative or not. And they're both checked by default. So the way that it is default is the way that I have it set up. So then you just, choose the right session template to define when it flips over. I think though that the next thing I'm going to do is create a drawing tool of some sort. Or maybe just some button. Maybe we create a button that shows up so that you can have it reset. It's a lull Friday yawn. I don't know, dude. I wouldn't I would stay vigilant. We got stuff going on. There's a lot of interest in this expiration. It could be some opportunity for us today. The question is just, um, is it going to run away or is it going to turn into a slog? If it turns into a slog, then there could be a lot of money to be made from just, trading between the two sides. Right now, though, it looks like it's going to run away on the upside. That they're going to try and make 3,500 again. I'm sure I've had so many people ask me, "Do you think it's going to get back to 3,500?" I'm sure that they're all options traders that want 3,500. The issue is that for those guys to make money, it has to go beyond 3,500, right? So otherwise, they'll just expire worthless. There's always them Trump tweets. Yeah, exactly.
Kusai JTSMA says the new dynamic circuit breakers on the CME are complicated and not really clear to me. It's hard to find exact info how this works. Can you give some advice?
Yeah. So the I wouldn't worry about it. That's the advice I give. So if we hit a full 5% circuit breaker overnight, then the dynamic circuit breaker comes into play. Because as I understand it, I don't know the exact rules either, but the way that it's intended to work is like, say we have some sort of really big piece of news overnight, like, Brexit, no deal Brexit is guaranteed, and that happened overnight. Then it's what could potentially possible that we could get a 5% move. And then it would be like they want to sell it further and it can't go anywhere. But if it's been down at that 5% move for like an hour, I think that they should be able to trade it again. And so that's what the purpose of the dynamic circuit breaker is that then at that point it's possible for them to go further than oh you're right, it's 7%. It's possible for them to go further than 7%. They set it to be the same as the regular session limits because it was silly to go down 5%, open up, then have to go 7%, open up, and then they tried 15 and they couldn't make it. If there's only one, then probably wouldn't be as much of an issue again. But I have to tell you, man, the chances of that kind of thing happening again anytime soon are very, very low. Maybe during the election, maybe on election night, I guess. I guess during the election, it's possible that sort of stuff might happen. But you got to realize that like 7% is like 200 points on the E-mini right now. Futures Trader posted a poll asking if they take Fridays off on a regular basis. I don't take them off, but I'm probably should stop early a lot. I'm with you on this long in the ES. Well, it's going okay so far. It kind of looks like it's gonna turn back around again. So we'll see. If it's to go up there, I think I should be going more for like that, but I might have to take it off before that. Oh, hey, what the heck? You know what? That sort of thing is so annoying. And all of a sudden it can go up like, yeah, six ticks. Easy. No, for no reason. I mean, I don't see any news there. The other thing that's interesting was that when we moved up there in the E-mini, they were trading like 200 lots the whole way up. So what the heck, right? Whoa. Treasury just slipped up 2 ticks? Whoa. Whoa. It's like a wild ride, right? Oh, it's because I didn't realize we were that close to the open. Well, I think we're okay. Volume is close. Pretty tight range there for the first bit. Buyers overall winning though. Hmm. Still tight. Overall delta positive. Somebody trying to shove it there. Wished that I hadn't have moved my original take profit, because then I could be out and stocking a better spot. See if they're able to regain that volume cluster again. It's pushing. It's definitely pushing. Oh my. Okay, so they did regain the volume cluster. I don't know what this is on a relative basis for volume. I don't really track that sort of stuff. Maybe I should, because at the moment I'm wondering, is this more or less volume than usual? It's certainly more, it's certainly tighter than usual. It's a real slog. Okay, buyers starting to push it on their side, see if they can break to a new high. If they can break that 92, then I think that we could be good to maybe go up to 3,500. Just kind of the overall. Okay, there we go. Buyers want to try and break the 90. Yeah, there you go. It's pretty clear when you can look at it. Like everybody that's in the position, they're gonna see it. Now there's also the high, overnight high was 92.50. So they probably got to break that before you start seeing a lot of people jumping on. Mm-hmm. Well, it's still slogging right there. Okay. New high. I mean, I see a few stop orders on that, but not crazy. This is making me feel very, very tense. Okay. So there was some sell orders chasing that one down. Looks like he got filled though. Have not been flexible enough here. So I had two opportunities where I could have taken it. I think that I need to. Yeah. And I think about it, and I'm like, well, if I get 91 again, they're likely to just tear out there. So go big. Do you use Bookmap? No, I'm using Jigsaw Day Trader. You know, there's some things about Bookmap that I'd be interested in. I'm not a huge fan of Java. There's some problems with Java, particularly the way that it handles dependencies. But um, it looks like a good product. It's not as good of a DOM, and I rely primarily on the DOM, so that's why I stick with Jigsaw. Okay. We're just going to come test of the low. Well, so it was really tepid on the low, too. Taiwan should start considering strategies to deter Chinese amphibious landing. Okay. So they made it by one tick. Yeah. So there's a few stops, but again, nothing huge. So it is turning into a slog. I have to come in here. Try and reset there. Looks like the buyers are going to try and take it again. I guess if I get to the open again, I should add to this. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm starting to get pessimistic, but I need to relax. Okay. So there was a bit of a flurry of orders going both ways there. Bunch of longs came in and pushed it up 3 ticks, and shorts came in the exact opposite. So here again, it is a slog. That's looking a little better. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Well, I tell you what, the volume profile so far looks in. Oh, this is the most disorganized of an open I think I've ever seen. Okay. Well, they slipped right through, so I don't know if that's going to get filled. Which is okay, though. It's okay if they don't fill me. Ooh, look at that. Big order at 90. What? Bullshit. You fucker. When you see him move it. Missed something? Ah, he was there again. Oh no, no, that was from before. That was from before. This is the new stuff. Okay. Oh, that means that I got executed, huh? Okay. Apple thinking too much. Well, there's a lot of. I mean, I would be watching Apple and Amazon in particular. Keep a close eye on Amazon for me. Well, because Amazon is where all that open interest in the options are. The market depth robot not doing so hot today. Okay. Hmm. Are you seeing that news about remdesivir now? That's interesting. it, like I don't think that it matters to the markets except for to that particular stock. But it was interesting that we went through that whole thing with remdesivir and hydroxychloroquine, and it seemed like remdesivir was looking good, and now they come out and they're saying, "No, it's not." That one is 737 safe to fly, really? The max? That would be really good news if Boeing could finally get on its feet again. Okay. Big order following that bid up. There, 34.90, 200 lots built. Sellers. Fight. Mm, hmm. Maybe we're just balanced. By the way, treasuries are back up to their highs. What? I might have to think about fading that over there if they come back down. Like something like here. Hmm. All right, I'm out. Disappointing. Oh wait, what? Where is the? Oh, right. Gonna go to an ILO now. Like the treasury's still moving up. China simulates island invasion to rattle Taiwan. That Times article. Uh-oh. I just have run into some issues with my data here. While we're still streaming, it's just the data. So I'm going to try reconnecting to Rhythmic. Okay. Well, the thing is both sides probably have a good case here. You know what I mean? And I'm not really sure how big of a deal the Brexit thing is. I'm also a little bit skeptical about the Brexit thing. I'm kind of wondering if that's not just, another negotiating tactic. You know what I mean? To rattle them. Okay, we're back. Hmm. Hmm. I have to play this by ear. I find myself canceling that way too often. Like the last one, I really regret canceling it. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's no way if they get to 34.90 that they're not going to continue higher. Especially now that the treasuries are turning there. Look at that. That's a really good uptrend now. Okay. Well, once again, when we get into the 90 range, it gets kind of sloggy. Ah, there we go. That was some stops for sure on that. That was a new high. And give them a moment to work it out a little bit. That's bullish if that was the low of the day, yeah. like I said, I think that 3,500 is a pretty good target, right? Now, the thing that was interesting about that was that I started to see like the stop run before they hit the highs. Oh, now that was interesting. They actually slipped a little bit on that one. I missed a couple. I mean, I know there's a lot of alarm there, but I missed Boom Baby saying American media is starting to resemble Stalinist Russia. What they did on, what's going on over there is that they've got some people in charge of that stuff that are just crazy. And I really think that what's happening is Jack Dorsey continually comes back through and cleans up their mess. What he needs to do is he needs to stick a conservative in there, or at least a true liberal. You know what I mean? Somebody that actually cares about freedom of speech. Because the thing that's really telling about the Twitter situation is that their behavior continually flies in the face of their stated objectives. And you got to get those people under control. You're going to ruin your company. Okay, I took this short on the treasuries and got that pretty good entry there, actually. Oh yeah, we're getting some numbers here. Business inventory spot 3 versus spot 4. In Michigan, current conditions 84 spot 9 versus expected 88. Consumer sentiment better than expected 81 spot 2 versus 80.5. And consumer expectations 78 spot 8 versus 76 spot 5. So mixed numbers, I'd say overall good. Oh my! Now that was a stop run in the in the micros. Oh boy! Oh boy! I can't believe that it didn't fill me at 94. In real life, that probably would have. Is a sim order. UVXY is getting hit. Yeah, I bet. Oh, come on. Come on. They're going to force it to clear it, I guess. There you go. Thank you. Wow. Even though this has turned out, the overall, the action worked out for me, I'm I'm a little frustrated by my inability to catch a really good spot that doesn't go against me, right? We had to wait for it to break a new low before we went, and I'm wondering, what is it that I can do to know that that's going to happen and wait it out? I think that I should have taken the profit the first time that it was up there and then them slog, and then if I was still positive after they broke a new low, then I could have taken the trade that I'm in right now. It happens. Well, that's true too. Sometimes it just happens. You're right. But I don't know. The problem is that I'm letting those get away from me a little bit too much for it to work. Oh my. Now that's a stop run. I guess Donald Trump is going to be speaking soon. Okay, so that move right there, I'm hearing some oil headlines from some estimates about global demand, and oil is moving up. That might be why we saw that rush in there. Okay. And over here in the treasury, I want that. Yeah. So now that they're there, it's like that 3,500 is almost guaranteed, right? Oh, I really shouldn't. That's probably the strongest language I've ever used. I shouldn't say that. The chances of them touching 3,500 from my guess is that it's really high. Yeah. And if they get 3,500, why not 3,510? Or where would be other targets? Trading View. Let's look at our 20. Almost 20. It's 19. 35.19. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. What do you think? You think the treasuries will give me O3? Feds Williams speaking. Striker says I hate YouTube chat. It's okay, dude. I just see it in both spots. YouTube chat is a little bit more for fun. But don't post like the politics and that sort of stuff in the equity indexes channel unless it's directly relevant to what's going on. Or they're all talking about it. I guess they're all talking about it. So that had to have been somebody stopping out. But I'm looking here at like how many contracts are on and everything. Yeah, they take some profits here and everything. They could still have some room. I really do see that it's kind of tight, but they have the numbers. They should be able to make it to 3,500. And like I was saying way earlier, I'm sure that they're saving a lot of ammo. So it's interesting that the open was such a slog, but the Bulls were able to stick it out even after that move down. Oh, so you've got your full screen, so I didn't even see it. Yeah, I get you. So I wonder how many people actually have like the video up versus just listening to it. I wonder sometimes if anything ever happened and we couldn't stream on YouTube anymore, we would probably be fine to just use like Discord chat. What's Clark got here? Oh, that's a pretty nice looking trade of 8 setup. It's pretty. It's pretty. Profit taking in NQ before the random. Okay. They're like what? 2 points short of 3,500. I am looking at your beautiful. Oh, it's a funny. Like one of the things was I wanted to have a good camera. I mean, I got the camera to be able uh, to record the one-off videos, but then it was like, no, we got to get like the the cam, whatever they call it. Plug the camera in, make the video look nice. But then, like I said, I'm pretty sure that the majority of people that watch this, they just listen. But we've got beautiful sound too, don't we? Sometimes I wonder if I should move back to the other microphone. Oh dear, my data reset again. That sucks. We're okay. That O3 half is still looking tough, but I watched Seth on 27. Yeah, you make me the full screen. Anyways, I have the other microphone that I use on my one-off videos because it does sound a little bit better and it's got a better pop filter on it. But this one, it just looks so good in the stream. I can't. It's great. I love it. Change your name to controversial bond trader and you will be banned from YouTube. No, no, we've been good. I mean, I am aware of what YouTube's um, terms are, and I'm very careful to make sure that I'm within the allowance. So even though we might talk about politics or controversial subjects, we're very careful to separate out what is factual, and we're not spreading misinformation or these jokes to try and fool people about where to vote and that sort of a thing. So Nicola tumbles after backing away from Badger is jammed the next shoe to drop. That thing is still going on. BitChute is a haven for the day. I don't think that'll ever happen to us. I think we're okay. Be positive, guys. And the channel is doing really well. YouTube likes us. We're doing good work here, guys. And if anything does happen, it'll be Sunday Driver's fault. There you go. BitChute is a refuge of free speech. I like BitChute. I do like it. There was a number of conservative channels that were removed yesterday. I saw. Like I said though, the thing that I think that a lot of far right conservatives are falling into, the trap that they're falling into, is they'll hear something that sounds really positive for them, and they don't check. They just Winston clips it. No, they don't check it. They just say, this thing happened, and then they don't fact check it, and that's a problem. Or they don't report it correctly. Like, you can report something and say it's alleged. Like, in my opinion, right now, it's alleged that Hunter Biden was peddling influence with Burisma. And these emails are alleged to be Joe Biden's. And even though I have a high degree of confidence that they really are, they haven't proven that yet. Wait, what? Sex banned indoors for tier 2 couples living apart. What the? Okay. Like the Russian collusion investigation? Exactly like that. The whole Russian, or well, even better example is like anonymous sources. So like, to me, anonymous sources is not proof at all. In fact, some of the things that they've put out on anonymous sources, they should never have been allowed. Wow, sorry to ask, what's the purpose of this channel? Entertainment. Nah, I mean, you can learn a lot. Don't get me wrong. I want to be really careful to say that I'm not claiming that I'm some amazing trader and that if you mirror all of my trades that you will make money. That's not always true. Sometimes I do really, really well. Today we're doing okay, although we haven't taken the profit on this one yet. And sometimes I do absolutely terrible. So I'm still learning. We're all learning, and it's kind of like a collaborative effort. But that's why I kind of think that the more important thing is that you guys are enjoying being here and you're enjoying trading and you feel like you have an ally, somebody to help you along on the journey. You know what I mean? RJ will 100% Seth. The leeway Biden gets versus the lack of journalism ethics Trump faces is astounding. It really is. Well, I really don't see how anybody can look at the way that the two town halls were handled yesterday and say that there's not a media bias against Donald Trump. I mean, it was really telling. I was watching the threads on r/politics, and somebody was saying, yeah, the moderator was really rude to Donald Trump at the town hall. And all of the responses were like, well, yeah, she was rude. She should be because he's a liar. And I'm like, okay, it's not the way that journalism's supposed to work, guys. You're not supposed to be making the story. You're supposed to be reporting the story. Everybody wins and loses sometimes. Yeah, exactly. But more so than that, I think that a lot of people have this idea in their head that like there's this one thing that you're going to learn or pick up or strategy, and you just follow that one strategy all of the time, and you will always make money in the long run. And the reality is that the market hunts alpha. We're all everybody is looking for an inefficiency in a market. And if you find an inefficiency in the market, there's a really good chance that other people find that inefficiency too, especially if it's just you looking at the chart, right? And then that's going to arbitrage that out. And so the real edges are going to be specific to that market. And so if you understand the market that day, then you can do really well. And if you don't, then you can do really poorly. And that's what happens to us is sometimes we know what's going on and sometimes we don't. Yeah, the first 20 minutes of the Trump town hall was Guthrie screaming at Trump. Yeah, that's what I saw. I didn't watch it, but I read the transcript. I'll watch it later today. Guthrie basically, I saw some of those gifs where she was like hacking through her teeth and stuff. I was like, they really did this for the town hall? Like, and I don't think it's going to go well for her. Because here's the thing. She was really hyper aggressive and she didn't really trip him up. So as I said at the beginning of the stream, I really think that the town hall was a win for Donald Trump just because he didn't make a gaffe. She threw everything that she had at him and he didn't trip up. Wasn't a town hall, it was an ambush. Yeah. Well, I mean, we all knew it. I heard a report that Donald Trump got off the stage and said that he thought it was going to be worse. So I don't know. But it makes me really angry that they didn't ask Joe Biden anything about the Hunter Biden stuff that's been coming out. I mean, do you realize there was like the initial story? There has been a new drop every day, and it is now coming from multiple outlets. So they have a lot. This is going to be like everyday sort of a thing now until the election, probably. And I can't believe the ABC didn't ask him even one question about it. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Biden sat on a comfortable chair. Yeah, you guys. Now, I haven't. I'm find it interesting that none of you guys mentioned the lady in the background nodding her head behind Donald Trump. What about that? Oh man, there was some liberals on Twitter were so upset about that. Like, she's already been doxxed and everything. It's insane. You nod your head in approval at something that Donald Trump says in a debate, and your life is over? What? It's crazy stuff. These people are insane. Like, I'm getting a little bit too much in opinionated territory. Biden murdered SEAL Team 6 is being centered. You know what, Lewis? I straight up don't believe that story. So the whole thing is that story is based on this, like, part of that theory that, and I've mostly been seeing it out of 4chan, is that they didn't kill bin Laden and all of this stuff. I think that the whole thing is ridiculous. And I was really surprised. I didn't see that Donald Trump had tweeted that. And I didn't realize that he had retweeted that. I don't think he realized what he was retweeting. I think it's a silly conspiracy theory. But here again, it's like, the more fantastical your claim is, I think that the higher the burden of proof is on you. I don't think it's really a very fantastical claim to say that Biden used his influence to enrich his family. I mean, come on, every politician does it, except for Donald Trump, and the only reason Donald Trump doesn't do it is because he can't, because he's losing money overall from it. But he knew when he was running. I mean, he knew what the thing was: is you get in office and you people will give you money just to even have your presence, like your positive PR presence. Yeah. So that's not a huge you got the emails, you got the photos. I think that's pretty effective positive proof. But they do need to release the files. If they need to release the raw files so that people can analyze and verify that they're real before the election. They really should. Okay, that last move up was really strong. Wouldn't you say? Is there anything a liberal can say or do that gets them canceled outside of saying a kind word about Trump? They can do whatever they want. Well, yeah, so I don't know. Here's the thing: is that the Overton window on the left has been moved so far left. The thing is that the people on the left that are doing crazy things and saying crazy things and getting canceled are so crazy that nobody wants you to hear about it. Okay, like these guys that what is the name of this podcast? Um, Chapo Trap House. Those guys are lunatics. Oh my gosh. And I mean, I guess the guys themselves, they're very far left, and but their fan base is messed up in the head. Like straight up, I don't. People tell me that they watch that. I don't trust them. Straight up, because those are like the dyed in the wool communists. I'll kill people to get what I want kind of people. I mean, I'm slandering, but this is what I've seen from them, and they have been canceled. They got removed on Reddit. They've been disowned. The one of the problems is that when it happens on the left doesn't want to advertise it. Whereas on the right, because the window has been moved so far, it's like this person has been removed and they shouldn't have been. Whereas on the left, they are being removed and it's totally justified. And the issue on over there is that there's a bunch of other people that have done things that they really shouldn't have and should have been banned or removed or whatever, and they're not. And that certainly happens too. And the best example of that being all of these media stories about, uh, you know, uh, anonymous sources claim Donald Trump did this, or the whole Russian collusion hoax. It was all false, and they all just pass it off as if it was real. But the reality is that it was a conspiracy theory that the Obama administration basically fabricated. Well, I guess it was really Hillary Clinton fabricated, but from the evidence that we have now, it was complete nonsense. Okay, so we're getting up there. This is a really strong man. I mean, I'm looking for 19 in the end, but that's going to happen before we have to go. Um, but I'm also not seeing a reason for it to have to stop. I don't know. That's crazy. It's really crazy. They're running away with it. You know what? We need to look at something else over here. Let's see here. Zero hedge. It was like yesterday. There was a story where they showed one of the gamma charts, and I want to look at that again. Where was the peak? Was the Nomura guy? Page 4. There it is. Okay. He has, oh geez. Okay, yeah. So it doesn't peak until like 3650. Huh. So that's not useful at all to us. I am seeing, okay. Do you see that I need to get out though? Okay. This is a good trade. Yeah. When someone on the right is removed, they're basically run-of-the-mill people. They restricted White House press secretary for referring to the New York Post article. Yeah, so here's again where I'm saying I'm just trying and provide, like, I don't really know what's going on under the hood, but I think that in situations like this, especially for us traders, that it's really useful to think about what are the actual internals in the organization when this sort of thing works. Okay. Now the question, does Jack Dorsey go and mark that tweet as, that URL, you can't post that URL, or, delete that tweet or ban them? It's not Jack Dorsey. You know that it's not Jack Dorsey, right? No, they have a team of people that they pay that go and do that. And I think that probably at this point, they probably have a team of people to handle the particularly big controversial ones. And who do you think is going to run that? I mean, it's freaking Twitter, right? And the person that's going to be motivated to get that job is going to be a SJW person that really wants to hurt Trump in any way that they can. So I think that what's going on is that you've got some hyper uh, biased, biased administrators over there at Twitter making the whole company look bad. So they go and they make a decision, and then Jack Dorsey is like, well, you shouldn't have done that, but we didn't tell you that you can't do that. So we need to adjust the rules. We need to adjust our policy. I think he's making a mistake. I think that on a controversial issue like that the people in charge of doing that sort of stuff should have the wherewithal to know that that's a bad idea, and that you can't ban the press secretary for sharing a New York Post article. Okay, well, there's another little continuation up. This is one of those ones where, you know what, this could just go on and on and on, and I'll like miss it. But I did get on my strategy where I want to take the profit. You are getting stops. Probably all of the shorts have been stopped out at this point. What's pushing it up now is probably new money coming in. I'm sure that these guys, SoftBank or whoever has all of the options expirations, they're going to try and push it further. They're going to need to get it at least to 35.20. But I want to see a pullback first before I try getting in. And at the moment, I think that the pullback will probably bring us back to around 3,500, if not a little bit below that. That's what I'm thinking. This is insane. I keep having this happen. I You get in a trade. It's difficult at first. It goes my way. When it goes my way, it goes way further than it should. Way further than it should. Do you not see this? I'm telling you guys, there are too many speculators in the market compared to actual market makers, right? These kids are all trading on Robinhood. They want to buy in, they're on their phone, they're not watching it on. They can't sit down and say, okay, I want to put my limit order here, and they're not providing liquidity. They're hitting into it. They're hitting into it and they're chasing it on their phones. And because it's all on their phones, they're all slow. And I think that's why you get in this thing. And it's going to continue until they lose it all. There's well, the first thing though is the pros need to realize that this is what's happening and take advantage of it better. Like on those moves, the liquidity providers. Oh, so here's the other part of it is that because the most of the liquidity being provided is from robots, the robots aren't smart enough to know that they should probably be pulling. I heard Robinhood's accounts were hacked. Yes, like 1,000, 2,000 or something. I don't know what happened with them all, but anyways, I think that the robots should be pulling. The robot should pull, force the Robinhood traders to chase it, and then let the liquidity vacuum trap them. Here I am talking about how can we best screw over the Robinhood traders. Or I'm just saying, in order to get a market that is actually like reasonable again, and at some point it has to happen, these guys are going to have to get washed out of the market. That's how it works. Is if there's a strategy that really is not, it's really taking things away from value, then at some point they're going to take on too much risk. They're going to be wrong on something and they're going to lose it all. There are whales on NQ manipulating the market. Well, there were yeah. I mean, we totally called it today, didn't we? Like I said, sometimes you understand what's going on and sometimes you don't. And today, we knew what was going on. And we knew what was going on because we follow the news. And so we knew, okay, on Monday, there was a lot of options were bought. It was really quite crazy. So even though we had all of this bearish action throughout the week, there's still a lot of gamma on, and they're going to have to try and push it up to try and make money on their gamma. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. Was all of that, NASDAQ well action is back, and it's pushing it. It's quite crazy. It's quite crazy. I kind of was thinking, if I could get 120, that'd be perfect, but I didn't do it. But look, I could have done it. Let's see here. I can't believe it, but Google has really screwed up. Their new release, the Pixel 5, is lame. It doesn't even use the best Super Dragon chip, and I really like Apple's game now. Well, here's the potential problems that I see with that Sunday Driver, and I'm not an expert on Google stock, but the thing that we would need to check before trying to trade a thesis like that is what percentage of phone sales actually comprises Google's revenue. So since I don't really want to touch this until it comes back down because it is way overextended, let's do a little bit of research for you and let's see if this is a good trade. Okay, and then we can talk about how we could potentially take advantage of it if you really want to. Okay, so let's see here. Google revenue breakdown. I want to see where does their revenue come from. So here was one from the beginning of the year. Now I want to see like most quarterly revenue. No. Revenue breakdown Q3 2020. Investor relations. Press release, maybe. Okay. 38 million revenues. Or is that billion? That's going to be in billion, huh? 19% increase. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Google search and other, $23 billion. YouTube ads is only 3 million of that. Really? Google properties. So I don't know what that necessarily means. Advertising cloud. They could really do better in the cloud. I would be way more bullish on Google if they were doing a lot in the cloud like Microsoft is. I got to tell you, Azure is pretty cool, pretty good. Yeah, especially for those Windows shops. Mm-hmm. Okay. Adjustments, purchases, blah, 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 blah. Cash flow. Okay. So if we come back up here to this, do you think maybe Pixel could be within Google properties? Probably not. It's probably in this Google other. I don't know. Let's see here. 2019 Pixel revenue, 7.2 million. Okay, so yeah. As a percentage of Google's overall revenue, the Pixel is not a lot. So the key thing here is that if you wanted to take a short in Google, trying to play it off of the Pixel itself, probably not a good trade, because the what's going to make Google's stock go up and down is going to be the advertising revenue and people staying at home. And since people are staying at home and Google is probably making a ton more money, I mean, you could see that there was a 20% increase year over year. That's really high. So a short on Google doesn't really make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. If we still wanted to play off of the Pixel thing, another thing we could do is we could try looking at their suppliers. Pixel, Google, Pixel suppliers. Suppliers and manufacturers. Alibaba. No, no, no. Okay. It was an LG display. But isn't the... No, 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 no. It's Samsung and the Apple, right? That might be a good article to read here. Google is in talks to invest $1 million in LG. Okay. Well, let's see here. LG. Wait, what does LG stand for? LG Electronics. There we go. Okay. And the daily chart. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't want to short that. Ugh. Well, life is good, LG. LG probably has a lot of other lines of business that are doing stuff too. So yeah. So that doesn't necessarily make sense. So I guess your best bet for a trade like that then would be we would have to like do a spread, right? Like so you could buy Apple and sell Google. That would probably be a not a bad trade. Or maybe buy Amazon and sell Google. Overall, though, it doesn't sound like a super great trade to me. Declining search is the only signal I'd rely on to short Google, right? Yeah, but you were saying like, you know, should be able to take advantage of the Pixel not doing very well. It doesn't look like there's really a very good market proxy to do that. Honestly, trying to short anything in tech right now doesn't sound like a good idea. Anyways, does it? This market is so interesting. Like one of the places that I would be thinking, okay, I think there's going to be a lot of people. By the way, turn on this light. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be hit hard by the pandemic. People aren't paying rent. There's going to be some problems in the real estate market, right? But because so many people are leaving Manhattan and California and moving elsewhere, the real estate market is actually not that bad right now. And so there's really nowhere to express bearish sentiment right now. I have a whisker poking me in the mouth. There's not like a long one. It must just be like bent or something. Anyway, but that was fun looking that up. So now to an earlier statement that you were making that high frequency traders are parasitic rent seekers who add no value. Well, I think that here's the thing is there's a bit of a Pandora's box here, okay? The automated trading Pandora's box has been opened and you can't close it. You really can't. How are you going to, you can't just tell them, all right, you can't algorithmically trade anymore. We all know that. And I really don't think that a tax is very wise either because, hey, they'll just move. But I again will go back to that. I really believe that there are some issues with them, right? When things are going bad, those liquidity providers just turn the robots off because the robots do really poorly in those conditions. And they're taking on a lot of risk to do what those robots are doing. They have so much capital that they can do that. But those robots, they can do these sorts of things where like you take a larger stop than your target and so forth, right? And they're fast. The fast is really the big thing. So when markets are moving really quickly, then yeah, they pull. And that's a problem. And I think that during news volatility, because even though there are Twitter robots, it seems to me like the Twitter robots kind of have a spotty history. Like sometimes they catch stuff and they're really good, but then they'll get it wrong and they lose a lot. And we see that a lot where the Twitter robots will start becoming really influential and then they'll screw up a couple of times and you can see that they become less influential. You could probably track in the market reactions off of those tweets, how well those robots are doing. So yeah, the robots screw up a lot. So here's a spot where I think that a day trader and a liquidity provider that's a human can have an advantage over the robots, right? But the issue is that the robots have been given a real significant advantage over the humans because they're so fast, one, and the humans don't know that they're trading against a robot, right? So what happens is the robots basically take everything away from you. Oh, hey, my thing took a trade up there and won. How did it do that? Well, my oh dear, what happened there? I have to look. Did it print out an error for us? Ah, there is an out of range bug in my indicator. I'm gonna have to go find it. Well, that's unfortunate. I can't see why it took that short there, but anyways, so I again think that um the real solution here is let us see who we're trading against. Maybe it doesn't have to be everybody. Maybe it's just if they're a big enough liquidity provider that we should be able to see who we're trading against, and then you would know. Because when I look at what I've got here on this inventory cost basis, and maybe this is a little crazy, but maybe the inventory cost basis is part of the answer, because the inventory cost basis is going to tell you where a reasonable entry is and isn't. So with the inventory cost basis, because you can see people's positions, you can know that, hey, just off of people's positionings alone, anything above 3503 is a little crazy. You don't want to be entering positions and buying up there. Not as a retail trader. It's a very low, not only is it a high risk trade, but it's not a good probability either. So chances are that at some point it's going to fall back down. Probably going to bust through the average true range, so like 3500, right? And that might be why they pushed it up that high, because you wanted the range to be above that. But right, if all of the retail traders know where the institutions are going to be buying and selling at, then that kind of eliminates some of that. This ability for the robots to just kind of look at everybody's positions and then go and stop them all out before it does the real thing. If everybody is getting in on good positions, then that would kind of eliminate that edge, and that would make it safer for retail traders to trade. A theory. So, yeah. And then we would maybe be able to get more retail liquidity providers up. But that's the thing is that we're getting you back to even, essentially. We're trying to even the playing field. To really truly even the playing field, we got to know who we're trading against. But good luck getting them to ever pass a law like that, huh? By the way, that trade in the 10-year, super happy about that one. That was like a no-brainer trade. And it worked out perfect. Yeah, it's a high frequency trader. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. I think that all you're going to end up doing is just taxing everybody out of existence, and then it will still just be the high frequency traders or the large institutions that are able to keep going. Or leave them alone so they can provide liquidity. No, I don't want them. I want there to be, here's the thing. I want there to be less robots and more retail traders. That's what I think should happen. More retail traders that truly understand the market, of course, but how do you get that? Taxing them isn't going to do that, because the taxing is going to hurt the retail traders too. Like, you realize that taxing these entities, all it does is mean that the only people that can really afford to provide liquidity is like Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. Is that what you want? You want the banks to be in complete control? Like, and that's another issue, right? Because the banks play the bigger games, right? And in that kind of a situation, the liquidity providers as like the one ally that you have. Can you imagine? Right now, I can come in with one lot and I can probably get filled just about anywhere that I want if I'm on the ball. I mean, I'll get missed sometimes, but generally speaking, I can hit into it and get a price. You get rid of those liquidity providers and just let the uh, the big banks be in control of everything, then you won't even be able to take advantage of the big moves because they'll just pull and move it to where they want. And they provide no meaningful liquidity. They do, just not when it counts. But no, I don't want the answer is not to regulate them out of existence by taxing them. No, the answer is even the playing field so that we can beat them. Even the playing field. That's the answer. I hate this tax thing because that's what the politicians are going to hear. That's what they're going to do. Let us beat them. So there's real problems with the robots. Oh, you see, Sunday Driver is just constantly trying to get me into worked up about something. Okay, so here's the move that I wanted to see. NASDAQ taking it on the nose there. So I don't want to take it as soon as it gets there. Let's let it play out a little bit. Rick says, and how do you even the playing field? Well, so that's where I was saying number one is that we have a tool here that gives you a better idea of where it is good to get into positions and where is not. So that helps. And I have that available. It's not officially launched yet, but so I'm waiting on some stuff from NinjaTrader, probably be another week or two, but you can go and try it now. I do have some people have been subscribing. So if you go to speculatorseth.com, it has all the information and the indicators and stuff. But basically what we're doing is we're taking kind of building a model off of the order flow to estimate where people's average positions are. And if you take trades, especially off of the extremes of that, you're much less likely to get screwed with and stopped out and so forth. Unfortunately, that alone is not enough if you're only if your stop is only 8 to 16 ticks, but it sure helps a lot, especially for swing trading, man. For swing trading, so great. So that was one. And two was let us see who we're trading against. Every time that an order comes through, there should be two IDs attached to it. Who was the aggressor and who was the passive order on that? And if they're a big trader, I should be able to associate that out to a person. I might not know their name, but I should be able to go through and pull out that trader's, like every transaction that trader has ever made. And then I can go in and I can say, okay, I just traded against a really good trader. The really good trader was on the opposite side of that trade. Is that really what I want? Is that really what I want? Does level 3 give that to you? No. Level 3 is something totally different. So level 3 is essentially level 2, but across exchange is how I think of it. But I don't know a whole lot about that, so I might be talking out my butt. But there's a lot of stuff with when you get into the big banks, like what I did when I worked for one of the large banks, where a stock gets traded on both the NYSE and the NASDAQ, and ICER. There's so many exchanges, right? And you can look at it and say, okay, if across all of these exchanges, there might only be 500 lots available, but if I combine them all together, I could buy 3,000 lots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to submit an order in so that at different times, so that they all hit the different exchanges at the same time. And that way the robots won't be able to arbitrage my order. I'll be able to just buy up all of that liquidity all at once. There's things like that. And that's kind of where level 3 kind of is letting you see that sort of a thing. Totally different. There might be some places, maybe there's some feed where you can see who it is, but I think that what would have to happen is Congress would have to pass a law requiring a trader ID to be attached to every order and reported to everybody. Did you know that in Taiwan, that's what happens? In Taiwan, you can see the IDs. And so that's how some of these scholars have been able to go back and do these studies where, because they had all of the information for like over the course of like 5 years or something of every trade, they could literally go in and say, here is what the performance of every person that participated in that market. They can literally do that on Taiwan. And what did they find? 95% of traders lost everything. Maybe there could be some things done to even the playing field out a bit. You think? Maybe letting us see who it is. So I don't know if all the retail traders actually get that information live, but you can imagine the sorts of things that we would be able to program up if you could, right? Because not only would we be able to, calculate out people's, like, here's what could happen is you could say, oh, I'm a good trader, and people would be like, well, I don't believe you, and then you could be like, okay, well, here's my trader ID, and then you could go back and look it up, and it would tell you every live trade I'd ever made. Wouldn't that be awesome? And you could go and you could see how many contracts they had on at that current time and what their position was. Be cool. I'm a bet that the big banks would never allow it. Okay, so they touched my line. They went to a spot where I could have bought it. They are bouncing a little bit. I said I don't want to do it on the first one. So if they go right back up, it's fine. I don't know. The timing is not quite right for me. Yeah, no. I think that they're going to do another flush. Real long 3501 and you hate it? Oh yeah, that one didn't work out very well, did it? You gotta tell you, it's kind of funny. Like, it seems to me that most of the time, especially when you're talking like support and resistance kind of trades, usually doesn't do what you expect it to do the first time. Usually it'll make it you think that it's doing what you want it to do, and then it will stop you out, and then it will do what you want it to do, right? But then the time that it does do what you want it to do, and so you don't take it the first time and you miss it, those are the best ones. Hence the nature of, I mean, that's the way that you expect it to be, right? The ones that the low percentage trades are the ones that are most profitable, and vice versa. This is the nature of the market, to arbitrage out the edge. High frequency traders would benefit way more than retail traders ever would from exposing trader IDs. Okay, so you have a legitimate point in that high frequency traders would be able to use this to their advantage. Here's the thing. They don't actually need that to do what you're thinking about. They already know, based on averages, where people are getting in at and where they need to move it to stop everybody out. Okay? I can tell you, based off of the data that I have and the scenarios that I can run through, because I can run through a best case and worst case scenario, right? So I can sit down and you can say, okay, I saw so many contracts trade down here. Now, I don't know whether those were entering positions or exiting positions, but I know that then later they came up and there was a distribution over here. And what you can do is you can kind of look at what is the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. And you will find that one of those scenarios will just doesn't make any sense, right? So I'm pretty confident from my model right here that they stopped out basically every short today. Anybody that was a retail trader and decided to sell on the open and hold that trade open, they have been stopped out and have exited that trade already. So if we know that, then what advantage would the HFT have from being able to see that it was you? You know what I mean? Like they already have that advantage on you. That's why part of what we're doing here is we have that model so that you have that advantage and don't get into a foolish position. But then beyond that, you're going to need your own edges to be able to know if you really want to get in there or not, right? Yep. Shorts who thought 92 wouldn't go over stopped out 3,500 plus. Exactly. Well, so right now what is happening is that um, it's a pause. It's a pause in consolidation time period. So I've found that on trend days, what they like to do is they like to go through the average true range. So the average true range stop was right there at 3,500, right? So what they're doing now is all of the late longs that got in late, basically the longs that got in above 3,500, right? They're bringing it down on them, so to accumulate more shares, right? And so those people will sell, and that might cause some other people to sell down in here. Is it that trader gonna get another counter trend trade? That'll be really cool if he wins on this one. Anyways, so it's essentially it's a tactic to try and balance things out because basically you spent a lot of money pushing it up. You want to take some profits, pull your liquidity, let it come back down, accumulate some shares again so that you can keep it going, right? So he wants people to sell it into him here right now. The question is just at what point is it safe for us to get in for another leg up if we believe that another leg up is going to come? That's the hard thing that I can't seem to figure out. I feel like that right here at 34.99 would be just great. I don't really know. Anyways, and then the other thing is that hey, if you could see the orders and the robots started pulling bullshit like that, like especially spoofing, don't trade with them then. Like I would literally, if I had that kind of information, I would literally build it into my platform that if I traded against somebody that I don't like, that I would immediately exit the trade. Or even better yet, if it was level 2 that showed me the trader IDs of the people in the queue, I would say, oh, you're going to buy into somebody that you don't trust, so don't trade it. That would make it harder for those big guys. It would make it a lot harder for those big guys like that. Because then they would have to build trust. It would be like it was on the floor. And my contention is, and maybe I'm dead wrong about this, but my contention is that the floor was more fair. And I have to ask somebody that actually traded the floors and the pits about that sort of thing. But that's what I'm thinking. That's kind of the premise of my theory here. Interesting stuff. Thanks. By the way, thanks for the subscription, Cloth Tiger. You just wanted to we set him up yesterday I just want to make sure that you realize that one of the advantages that you get here is I am like hyper available. So you can message me on Discord or you can send me an email. You can be like, hey, I found this particular thing has been interesting, but if I had this feature in the software, it would make it even easier for me. That's the advantage. That's what you're paying for, right? So use it. Let's see here. Yeah, I expected to sit here for 2 hours, says Vlad. That's funny. High frequency traders don't hold their position. They buy and sell in nanoseconds. It's not uncommon for them to make as little as 0.0001 per trade. Well, it's Sunday Driver. What you're saying is not untrue. It's what you're saying is not false, but um, I think that you're making too much of a generalization, right? Like I think that one of the things that happens is we'll hear, okay, here's high frequency trading, and there's some high frequency algorithms that work like this way. And so we make the assumption that all high frequency algorithms work that way, right? I'm going to bet you that there's one algorithm that literally its whole thing is just I will put liquidity. I will put 5 contracts at every price. I will put 5 contracts at every price, and my edge is that I am always the first person in line. That I get in first, and that's its edge. And it doesn't care about the direction or anything else like that. And it will hold a position overall for as long as it has to, as long as it doesn't go outside of the range. And so a robot like that could be in for a really, really long time. Whereas there's other robots that their edge is trying to catch the edge, and so they'll hit in and only take a tick. You know? Some algos are just martingales, sure. It's more complicated than a martingale, but yes. They will essentially continue to pick contracts on as it moves against them. That's why those algorithms don't do well during high volatility. They turn them off, and then the liquidity is gone. And you can see it very clearly because, all of a sudden there's 1,000 less contracts on. Okay, so this is coming down quite a bit more than I expected, actually. I'm wondering, do you think that they're going to be able to beat this pivot out that we have at like 34.94? I'm kind of wondering, like, that bull run was way too strong. Just straight up, we said. I really don't like fading the trend, but I'm betting that if you had enough solid rules that you could make money off of fading that. Because it's probably a high probability trade. Do market makers or high frequency traders belonging to the same party manipulate price movements by organized trading against each other? I think that they do actually, Rex. So I don't know for sure, but I can tell you one thing that I do know for sure. When I spoke to the market makers at one of the large banks, and they showed me a little bit of how they trade. Unfortunately, I didn't know a whole lot. I would really love to talk to those guys again. Like, I would really, really love to talk to those guys again. But the thing that I can tell you is that they were not trading alone. There was a bunch of them, and there was one guy whose whole job was to make the market tick. Like this whole thing where it's like, the offer will pull, and then they will buy the rest of the contracts that were offered, and then they will bid enough contracts for it to stay, and then it does that price after price after price after price. There was a guy, and his whole thing was that was what he was good at. And there was other people whose whole thing was that they were really good at absorbing contracts and buying a lot of contracts, and not being noticed by the market. And so there was this whole thing where the guy was like, okay, are you ready for us to move yet? And they're like, no, I still need to pick up 500 more contracts or something like that. So they waited for that person to absorb more contracts before they started moving it. So do they like coordinate movement and work together to make the market do what is most advantageous for them to execute their clients' trades? Yes, they do. And could that potentially mean trading against each other in some spots to create volume that doesn't actually result in positions? I suppose it's possible. Okay, yeah, he took a stop loss there. Interesting. Johnson saying he disagrees with a national lockdown. You know, I haven't heard a whole lot from my squawk while we've been having this whole conversation. It's really interesting how much, you know, I'm this is going to be interesting. Cuz I'm starting to think, okay, like for me, does it make sense for me to take another trade? I made $80. I don't think it does because I know that the later on in the day it gets on a Friday, the more difficult it becomes. So for me, I don't know if it makes sense to make another trade anymore, even though I was looking to buy it somewhere in here. It's come down more than I thought, essentially. Almost back to where we were when we were kind of waiting for it to pop. So is it the case that a lot of traders just made their money on that bull run and went home? That it will be a lot more difficult for them to make another new high? And if they don't make another new high, then what do the option traders that are extremely invested in where it closes today, what do they start to do? So this could continue to be interesting even if we don't necessarily want to take a trade in it. Maryland GOP governor casts a write-in vote for Ronald Reagan. Oh, geez. I'll be honest with you. I'm not the Republican candidate for governor. I don't like him. I'm not going to vote for him. I'm certainly not going to vote for the Democrat, but I'm not going to vote for him. I'll write somebody in. I'll write the person that I thought should have won the primary. No, what's this? Oh, okay. Somebody sent me a video. They want me to watch it later. Okay, so that could do it right there. Yeah. Keep this on a short leash. Write it down. Ace Trades and I are in agreement in getting along today. Well, the thing that's funny is that you two haven't really been around at the same time very much. You both kind of are in and out. Ace is kind of an interesting, like from a philosophical and political spectrum, is kind of an interesting um, nut to crack. You know, does that make sense? Because he had a very conservative upbringing, and he definitely still believes in some of those strong conservative values. But there's also a lot of things that he's seen in the conservative community that he disagrees with very, very heavily. So he's very liberal on the other side. Mm, is not voting in essence a vote for the opposing party? Yeah, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It's not like the Democrat in Utah is going to win. Okay. So it's still being a little messy here. Prime Minister Johnson is speaking right now, by the way. That might have been why they slipped there a little bit. Yep, except for the belief stuff. I know. I guess that was kind of more what I've seen from you. Like I'll hear you say really conservative things, but then I've also hear you say, like, for instance, that you're pro-choice, right? So it's very difficult to categorize you as purely liberal or purely conservative because there's a really complicated mix there that is, going to be based very heavily off of your experience being in being born in Utah, but uh, deciding to leave the church. It gives people a perspective that you don't get anywhere else. You really don't. I think a lot of people in the church think that, well, people leave the church and then they become like they take the attitude of the world and everybody, but it's really not. It's a third separate thing because they still will see a lot of things in the world that they don't like. Hmm. So they're having a hard time pushing up above that balanced area from before where they careened down, which is slightly concerning, but um, it's okay. We can just lose on this one if that's what's going to happen. This trade is kind of in no man's land, so I don't know if that helps our probability, but Trump town hall moderator Guthrie's performance both praised and slammed on Twitter, I bet. I don't think it's going to be a positive thing for her career. Do you? Because I think that the thing is going to be like she was really rough, so a lot of people won't like her because she was really rough. And the people that would be inclined to like her because she was really rough will be mad at her because even though she was really rough, she failed to accomplish her goal. She failed to trip him up. I'm telling you, as a debate moderator, if any of you ever become a debate moderator, it is not to your advantage to become part of the story. If people are talking about you after the debate, then you have failed as a debate moderator. It should always be you want to be forgotten about, and you want everybody to be talking about the candidate. Okay, so there's another excursion. Seeing oil still looks pretty good up here. I see Vlad saying something about oil, but I'm seeing maybe a little bit of dollar bullishness, but I don't know if that's a big deal. And seeing the 6B moving here? No, not really. So I don't know if they're really reacting to Prime Minister Johnson or not. Trump advisors brace for loss. Point fingers. 3 senior Trump advisors who recently talked to the campaign manager, Bill Stepien, walked away believing he believes they will lose. I believe that at the moment that they will lose, if I'm honest with you. Okay. So we lost on that one. So at this point, we can start thinking about maybe taking some shorts. Because that was probably about the best setup for a reversal back long that you're going to get. Don't you think? Stepien's critics say he is in CYA mode, refusing to make tough decisions that might incur Trump's wrath while setting up excuses for what polls suggest could be a shellacking by Joe Biden. Well, I definitely see that. Remember I was saying earlier, it seems to me that the public's opinion of Donald Trump's handling of coronavirus is the key decider in this election, and whether or not you think that there should be more lockdowns. And the older voters seem to still be afraid, seem to be upset about how the coronavirus has been handled, and seem to want to continue to have lockdowns. And that's a real problem for Donald Trump's election prospects. And Donald Trump has been running on, the radical left, and the media hates me, and Joe Biden is a crook. And you've seen the messaging this past week really nailed down on those things. And as a result, I think that you're seeing Trump world ignore the thing that they need to do to win, which is to say, hey, Nancy Pelosi, when we were locking down, was saying, no, we don't need to lock down. The weather's great. Come out and join us for the parade. That's what you need to be pushing. When Donald Trump shut down international travel, Joe Biden was saying that was racist and unnecessary. He was dead wrong. That was Joe Biden. Is that who you really want to be in charge of your pandemic response? The man that was dead wrong on what was probably the most important decision made during the whole pandemic, was to close the travel, to close international travel. I got to say, I don't think that you're safe with a Democrat in charge. That's the message they should be sending. But I don't think that Donald Trump wants to say that, and I don't think that anybody is pushing him to do it. So maybe it is the case that the campaign is just given up because they know what they need to do to win, but Donald Trump won't let them. Just my feeling. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's the feeling that I get. That's how I feel right now. Take Charles Manson. I wouldn't take Joe Biden. Wouldn't take Joe Biden. Listen, I think I've said this before. You're saying that before, but anytime in history when there's been somebody in power that the people or just in the situation it's been volatile or whatever the deal is, and everybody says, oh, this guy is so bad we need to get rid of him, and then they replace him, you get somebody worse. It is very common to get somebody worse right afterwards. Okay? The whole thing here is like, when you look at Trump, is like, is it really that bad? And I really don't think it is. I think that the coronavirus response was okay. Wasn't any worse, better or worse than anybody else's. With another 4 years of this, fine. As long as in the end everything comes out balanced. But if we don't do that, if we flip here and put somebody like Joe Biden in and then give the left complete control over everything like it looks like they may do, you're just going to create more problems. I take a decent human. Who gives a shit? Listen, no. See, I don't care about that stuff at all. Because here's the thing. I thought Mitt Romney was a decent human being. You know what? He's not. I thought that Mitt Romney had all of these principles and wanted to help the working class and wanted to help fight against the injustices that, well, not, I don't want to say injustices, but wanted to fight back against China rigging things and cheating and foreign powers basically looting America and shipping working class jobs overseas. And you know what? He was full of crap. He didn't believe a single darn thing that Mitt Romney put in his platform. He didn't believe a single thing. Anytime that you think that the president is a decent person, all that means is that you fell for it. That's all it means, guys. I'm telling you. Politicians, here's how you got to think about it. Politicians are not people. They aren't. The reality of the situation is that there are powers so strong and incentives and issues that you have to deal with as president that you really can't do what you want to do as president. You are restricted by what else is going on. So whether you are a good guy or a bad guy does not actually matter. What matters is what you actually do when you come into those situations. Donald Trump is an absolutely not the best guy. I'm not going to say that he's an abhorrent person, but he's definitely got some things about his personality that will rub people the wrong way. Okay, but when it came down to some of those tough choices, he chose to stick to what he said he was going to do when he ran for president. And that's what matters. Because what did he say he was going to do when he ran for president? He was going to hold China accountable. He was going to do that. Like, you look at the big picture, the macro picture. Where do we need the macro picture to go? We need the macro picture to go to where these people that are working class Americans and aren't learning how to code have opportunity again. And that we build manufacturing and that we don't allow China to completely take over everything. And Donald Trump is the only one that's doing that. And that is why he is the only real choice. Still don't have a hat. Well, it hasn't. If Stream, or sorry, who am I using for it? Stream Elements. When Stream Elements make a hat available, I will definitely add it. Well, what do you think about low of the day now, huh? Well, I guess I could take it there. Try it. Mitt Romney is a terrible human being. He made his fortune by destroying working class people. Yeah, I agree. And like the thing was, is at the time I was really mad. Oh, we need to cancel this. We're gonna get way more than that if this goes. You know, I was wrong about Mitt Romney. Like, that was the thing in 2015 was I realized that I was wrong about Mitt Romney. I just have to say, like, for Republicans, for their entire life, for generations, Republicans have been all about, we need to elect a guy that's a good guy and is a God-fearing man and is an honest man and is this, that, and the other. And you've been doing that for well over 30, 50 years. And you never got squat out of it, except for with Ronald Reagan. You never got squat out of it. And then you put this guy in that was the exact opposite of that. From all accounts, a terrible human being, somebody that's certainly not honest and chaste. Okay. And he did more for Republicans in those 4 years than has happened the whole time since Ronald Reagan. So what's the takeaway from that? What you think about them as a person doesn't matter. It doesn't. When I'm watching debates, and for me, of course, I watch the horse race, and I'm very much about, okay, is this going to hurt or help their chances of winning and this and that, okay? But for me, in my decision, all of the like these personal attacks that come out into, I completely ignore them. I don't care at all, unless it's active corruption. But like Donald Trump, Like, oh, well, like the perfect example was the grab him by the Donald Trump was saying grab him by. I don't care. I don't care. Doesn't matter to what he's going to do in office. Doesn't matter at all. I expected Trump's tax returns to have really ugly stuff, and they were clean of bad stuff. Well, nah. I think that his tax returns were about as bad as you could possibly have expected them to be based off of the other information that we have. I can't believe that I just got that dead wrong. You gotta be kidding me, man. How many of your family members? Well, like I said, if it's active corruption, if they did something illegal, that's different. Okay. But if he, was mean to my sister and dumped her or something like that, it wouldn't affect whether I voted for them. This is that one is just the perfect example, though, Ace, of why people rally to him so hard, because the people that are arguing against him use such hyperbole like that. Like, he's not shooting anybody. He's not. Okay. The worst thing that he did was he said some mean things on television or screwed up when the media tried to trip him over. Or, didn't release his tax returns. And a bunch of other things that are alleged but not proven. If he shot a family member, then that would be different. That'd be something illegal. Especially if it, like I said, it was like active corruption. There's nothing well, the thing is there's definitely a lot of things that he could do to make me not vote for him anymore. But the reality is he's not going to do any of those things. Come on. Not on Fifth Avenue. It wouldn't. Shot somebody on Fifth Avenue. Well, well, well. Isn't this interesting? Well, it's time for me to go, so I'm not gonna screw it up. But it's sad that I lost on those two. So what's that put me up at? Plus 40? Yeah, plus 40. Okay. Probably shouldn't have let those two trades go full stop outs. Should have had only given them like 10 points to run. It really sucks when you take a long and a short and you lose on both of them, though. Like, it's literally right where I'm like, okay, like, we can start adding on here, and then it flips on us. I don't know. Although, looking at the way that things are, like, the seller's going to probably come back in here around 93 to 95. What are the top 3 things that Donald Trump could do that would make you not vote for him? Okay. If Donald Trump, well, obviously, if he murdered somebody, then I would not vote for him. Okay. If, let's see. Like, there's a lot of, I'm trying to think of, like, what would be the specific pieces of policy that I would have, like, a really big problem with, murder. Come on. I do. Like, here's the problem is that the reason I like him is because he implements the policy that I want. And the reason it's so hard to come up with a thing is that I have a list this long of things that he's done that I've wanted Republicans to do for years. This whole thing, like with the national parks, man, that has been an issue here in Utah for a long time. And I know that there's a lot of people in Utah that don't agree with me on that one, but it was ridiculous when Bill Clinton created those parks, and reducing the size of those parks and opening up some of that area to um, businesses was a great thing. And giving Utah more control over its land is a great thing because the federal government has completely mismanaged that stuff. All right. When they implemented the new tax policy, that was huge. That's something that we've been trying to get through for 20 years to make America more competitive, and it worked, and it was amazing. The amount of money that started coming into the United States when we reduced those taxes and the stock market rally that we had was just unreal, unbelievable. And Orrin Hatch, he worked his whole life, the whole reason that he was in the Senate for that long was because he wanted to pass that one bill. And then finally, when we got Donald Trump, he was able to finally get that one bill. For 30 years, people have been shipping their jobs off to China. And meanwhile, China steals our intellectual property, manipulates their currency, does everything else, which and the other. And you know what? The whole trade war thing, I don't think that it really turned out. I mean, I guess maybe it helped a little bit, just the very fact that people were willing to push back on it, but it doesn't look like it was too terribly effective. I'd be really interested to see how it goes in his second Trump term when he's not dealing with re-election, how he would deal with China. Okay, but I liked that he tried. So when I have a list this long, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say, but he's going to enact like one policy that is going to make me like hate him forever and not vote for him anymore. It's kind of a ridiculous thing to say, don't you think? You're willing to give away the public lands? Yes, I am. 100%. Nobody's using it. It's just a bunch of shrubs. They can make money off of it. They should. Not every single piece of land needs to be protected. And they were protecting stuff that really didn't need to be. And yeah, the public lands out west are outrageously large. Yes, it's absolutely true. So that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. So you know what? If Donald Trump immediately after being reelected reversed himself on all of those things, he went and he appointed a really liberal judge to the Supreme Court. He went and he gave China a deal that basically allowed them to completely take all of manufacturing in the United States for the rest of all time. And, he rescinded all of his tax cuts and made it so that we actually had an even higher tax than we had before. And, all of these other things, then I wouldn't vote for him anymore. Sure. But you know what? That's not Donald Trump. That's Joe Biden that wants to do all of those things. So now you have this other issue, which is like, you want me to not vote for the guy that has done all of the things that I want and vote for the guy that wants to do all of the things that I don't want. And frankly, some things that I'm absolutely terrified about happening. And you want me to do that because the first guy is kind of mean. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? Maybe if Donald Trump killed somebody, then maybe it would be a reason for me to maybe vote for Joe Biden. It's a really high bar. You're right, it is. Because all of those things that America gets out of having a president that's implementing the right policy matters a hell of a lot more than what the president said, or he's mean, or his personality, or even if he cheated on his taxes. I don't think it fucking matters compared to the policy that you get. If that's the only way to get the policy, if I could vote for somebody else that would give me that same policy, then I would vote for them. But that doesn't exist. Yeah. China's military group pretty large. It's going to continue getting bigger. I mean, especially with this Taiwan thing. The Taiwan thing is getting scary to me. Because I've always thought, like, there's no way that China really thinks that they're going to take Taiwan back, is there? But they're talking like they're serious about it. I don't know. It's scary to me. Yeah, you can break the law and you don't care as long as they drill for oil in your driveway, sure. Sure. Because like here again, it's like, okay, like I can vote for this nice guy that you say is clean, and then shit never happens. So then at that point, why does it matter who I voted for? See, the issue is people are trying to get you to vote for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with why we vote. We vote so that we get the policies that we want. That's the whole point of democracy. If you vote for other reasons, then you're defeating the whole point of having a democracy. That's a manipulation. And I have to say, to be quite frank, there's two things. Number one, you don't get to that level where you're running for president and you don't have some skeletons in your closet, that you don't have something that they can blow up and kind of make it seem like that they're not a good person. It just doesn't happen. Number two, though, it's really hard, although maybe it's the case with Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. I don't know, but it's really hard to have done anything that is like that terribly awful. I have to say, with this whole Hunter Biden thing, I'm quite upset about it and I'm quite mad about it. But in terms of like what the law can actually do about it, I don't think that it's really a huge deal. I don't think that it's going to. I think that a lot of Republicans this past week have been like so happy about this. It's like, this is just like last time and we're going to win again. And I don't think so. Because I think that more Americans have figured out what I've figured out, that the policy and so forth is what matters. And these guys are upset about the policy for coronavirus because they have some ideas about how coronavirus actually is going down and what you can do about it that are unrealistic. And so that's probably the only thing that matters, is that one policy, or at least what he's able to convince people about that one policy. And we can say everything terrible. Like this is the same thing about like Joe Biden is like, he's literally selling his influence. His son was making money simply because he was his son. And his son was introducing Joe Biden to people because of that. And apparently, Joe Biden, according to one email, and maybe we're reading too much into it, but let's just assume that it's true. Joe Biden required 50% of Hunter's salary as a kickback. Okay? You're going to vote for him because of that? Because that sounds like pretty corrupt behavior. Like that's that's equal to, if not worse than anything bad that Donald Trump has ever done. But if you don't like what Donald Trump has done on policy, then it's a different thing, isn't it? Anyways, I gotta go, guys. I will see you on Monday. In the meantime, stay profitable.